Hello everyone, I'm Mad Liberals. We're going to be doing a video meme tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to track motion and apply a layer on top. We're going to be using Adobe After Effects. It's a wonderful little video editing program. There are others out there that can do basically the same things, but this is what we like to use. First thing we're going to do is use a new composition from footage. I have downloaded a video from Superman 2 that we're going to edit today. So we'll open up our After Effects project. I'm going to go to my heads library and find the video superman.mp4. As it loads it up, you can actually see it's going to be the scene where Superman is flying with the American flag. Now we're going to want to put a head on top of this and track him and put Trump on top. So I will find a nice head we can use. This is my head library. I have a few images in here. Let's find Donald Trump, and we have a lot of heads we can use. Let's find one that's kind of appropriate. This one's not too bad looking here. And I will drag this onto my project. As soon as I drag into the project, we can then drag it onto the scene and kind of size it down with these little arrows here. Now, as you can see, I can mess with the aspect ratio, but holding the shift key is going to keep everything nice and correctly proportioned. I can drag it down here and put him on top. I can then open up and do a position. So, for example, if, of course, as the scene moves, his head's not going to follow along. But what you can do is set what we call keyframes. So I'm going to press this little keyframe, it's like a little stopwatch. And so that from this point, it's going to be that value. And by the time you get to the end of the video, it'll be this value. And you can actually see this little line that's going to be using, a little line that you're going to see the motion between the two. So as you can see here, it's going to be close, but not good enough, absolutely. And plus, the head gets larger at the end. So not only do we want to do position, we also want to do the scale. So as we set the scales keyframe, at the end of the scene, we want it to be bigger. So now it's going to proportionally move back and forth and follow along, get smaller and change positions. But of course, that's not going to be good enough. We could change every single one of these positions as he's moving along. And we do this quite often on a lot of videos when the motion is a little bit jumpy. So then once we have all these set, you can actually see he's flying around. Now, of course, you could spend a lot of time setting every single one of those frames, but Adobe After Effects has some nice little tools to do positions, so let's use it. We're going to click on the original video and go up here to Tracker. The Tracker will track motion for us. It has a lot of features, but track motion is what we're looking for. And it will go back to the original scene and has this little box that you can size to put on what you want to track. Now, I like to put it on top of the person's head completely. So we're going to just say, we're going to put it right on Christopher Reeve's head, position here, and then put the other box of what is not his head around it. And now we're going to press play. And what it will do is it'll go through every single frame and watch that motion and track it. And as you can see here, it's actually doing a pretty darn good job following his head around. It goes off a little bit, but we'll address that in a few minutes. And let it go all the way to the end. As you see, it's getting a little bit bigger, but it's still going to track right. And once you're done, you can see that you have all these little points here of what it was trying to figure out. And I saw one point here that I'm going to take a look at. This point here is just a little bit off. And you can actually click on these and actually adjust these movements so that you get a nice smoother effect at the end. So I kind of like to go back and look at all the points it's calculated and adjust it a little bit. So now that we have all the points, we need to put it somewhere. So that's what Edit Targets for. I've seen a lot of people target the actual photo of the object, but what I found to be much more useful is to create a brand new layer, and we're going to create a null object. Now this is going to be my null tracker layer, so I'm just going to press Enter and call it Tracker, and I'm going to apply my Edit Target to that tracker. And then I'm going to press apply, and it's going to move all these X and Y positions to that tracker. Now you can actually see here, the red little box is going to be all those movements I just made. You see that? So when we get to the very beginning, we can go back, and instead of moving our positions, we can what we call pick wick. This right here, this little parent, the link, we're going to link Donald to that track. All right, and then turn off the red points. And you can see here, he actually moves pretty darn good with it now. So it's a lot more fluid motion. There's a little bit that he gets off, and that's one of the reasons we did that null layer. So I'm going to open that back up and go back to this position one more time, turn on the keyframes, and as he's flying around, I can make a little bit slight adjustments as he's doing it. I can actually go up here and move his head to there, and that can at the end get in one more nice position to about there. And what it will do is it'll actually combine not only these positions, but all more keyframe positions of the tracker. So it's kind of the first one is going to be the fine tuning, and this one's going to be more the global tuning. So when you get the final image, it actually looks like he's flying.